Aloha, buenos dias. This is Kaypacha with the weekly Pele report. Happen to be over here in Orlando, Florida, of all places, looking for a natural place to do my report. But you know, we're having the full moon this week in Gemini Sagittarius. Gemini is the city, Sagittarius is the country. So here I'm mixing together a little bit of the watery lake in the city of Orlando. Could go over to the swimming pool here. Giving some talks around here, but yeah, June 11th, the astrology of June 11th. We've got a number of things going on. Like I say, the moon is in Sagittarius for that full moon. And we've also got, the main thing I want to talk about today is this Mars square Pluto coming around for the third time. Along with that Mars square Pluto, now we've got Venus moving through Taurus, coming into an opposition with Saturn. Zowie Kapowie. Last but not least, if that's not enough, we've got Mercury retrograde returning, yes, to Gemini. Dipped into Cancer there for a little while before it went retrograde. Now it's going back into Gemini. So we've got this Sun in Gemini opposite the Moon in Sag. Obviously the Moon goes into Capricorn and Aquarius over the next week. And I think I'm going to try to find a spot here to face the camera. You got to face the music these days. Maybe I'll try this little pavilion over here and see if I can do something, talk to you. Okay. Hola. I'm going to try to do this without squinting if the sun doesn't come out too much. I hope the wind doesn't blow too much and everything is okay for everybody. So much to talk about today. Let's see where to start. Let's start with the bigger picture and then narrow it down to more what's going on this week. This Mars square Pluto. It's also in opposition to Uranus, and it's reactivating again this Uranus-Pluto square that's going on since the summer of 2012. Demanding consciousness. It's a wakening up time for everybody. But specifically, Mars came by and made that first square back in December and January. It went up and triggered it. Then it went retrograde. Late April was the retrograde Mars. And now it's finishing and completing. It's doing this third pass to this square. So there's a connection between impulses, desires, relationships, business enterprises, yeah, all kinds of partnership and ideas that were not birthed, but like the impulse was felt, or the dream was had, or the desire was, came up around New Year's, like New Year's resolutions. Just look back, what were you thinking about? What were you wanting? What were you, creating? What did you want to create for yourself, back for 2014? What was that about? And then it went retrograde, right? So it went up, almost to the end of Libra, turned around and went retrograde. And it was a time, it's been a time of getting it together, of dealing with obstacles, limitations, through partnerships, through other people, the outside world kind of impacting that internal impulse that we had. Could also have been like a new relationship that started and went through a lot of changes. Went through a lot of movement over this last 6 months. The retrograde has to do with, coming into reflection and a deeper comprehension and a deeper understanding. So it's like we have this impulse, and then Mars goes retrograde, and it says, before you act, you have to think. Mars likes to act and then think. Yeah? But when it's retrograde, it's like before you do this, before this is going to happen, before this business or enterprise or relationship is going to, you know, really do anything, you've got to it's like a laundry list of stuff, you know, that I've got to do in order to make this project that I, you know, wanted to birth in January happen. And so now it's going direct. And it's like, yeah, green light, time to go. It's time to go forward. It's time to, you know, wrap up, finish up the paperwork, sign all the signatures, do all that stuff, and like get ready to sail. Yeah, particularly next month when Jupiter goes into Leo, things are going to just start really cooking. And they're really cooking now. Let's look at this other stuff, yeah? We've got this, you know, let's close it in now a little more, because this Venus is opposite Saturn. And this is another one. Okay? Creating consciousness. This time is all about consciousness. Sun in Gemini, Moon in Sagittarius. This full moon is about consciousness. It's like we can't do anything anymore without consciousness, or we get banged, slapped, kicked in the butt. Saturn is reflection. Okay, it's going through Scorpio. It's reflecting on the deepest, darkest shadows, hidden desires, childhood conditioning, past life, subconscious memories. This is like really, you know, all the secrets need to be coming up through our intimate, most vulnerable, sexual, personal, intimate unions and partnerships and financial undertakings. And now what happens? Venus goes into Taurus for a month, you know, and it's opposite Saturn for this, you know, most of that whole time. Give it 3 weeks, really, but it's exact now. And let's face it, there's been a lot of tension and a lot of stress. The Uranus square Pluto is very tension and stressful. Mars coming around, you know, and what is the stress about? I do it my way. Pluto in Capricorn, I want control. Uranus in Aries, I want my freedom, my way, my liberation. And Mars is relationship and partnership, saying, hey, wait a minute. Don't go away. Or, you know, there's this other aspect, this other part of ourselves that wants partnership and intimacy and relationship. And then we got Saturn in Scorpio saying, if you want partnership and relationship and intimacy, you better get your shit together. And you've got to and commit to this and promise to that and straighten out that and be responsible. Saturn is all about responsibility in our relationships. So it's not coming easy. There's prices to pay. So now Venus comes into Taurus. Taurus is my body, my orgasm, my money, my indulgence, my physical pleasures. And Venus goes into Taurus and says, give me some chocolate, give me some sex, give me some wine, yeah. And what happens? Bam! Bumps into the opposition with Saturn. It says, sorry, delayed gratification is where it's at these days. Oh man, you get to relax and go on vacation after you get all your work done and after you save up enough money. And if you want to enjoy yourself, you've got to man. Woo! We're all really getting tackled in here to toe the line. Big time. So then what happens? Sun goes into Gemini. Yeah? And what's Gemini about? More information. Okay, if you want me to be responsible, or if this, you know, relationship or business is going to work, I've got to gather more information and learn and advance and communicate and network and get it all together mentally. Get the facts, get the data. So it's like gathering, okay? You know, it's like maybe, oh, well, I need to learn about psychology, or I need to learn about Tantra, or I need to learn about something in order to make this relationship work. My partner's complaining about this and this and this and this, you know, so Gemini's like, well, you know, Get a book on it, you know, Google it, figure it out, you know. And then the moon now comes into Sagittarius and says, well, you know, maybe you want some plant medicine, maybe you want to like open up that right brain and really, you know, go into, you know, natural nature and learn directly and talk to the plants, talk to the animals instead of reading the books and Google. Sagittarius is about natural law. We have this awakening now that's happening, and it has to do with getting in touch with our true nature and the true meaning of our existence. And this is really powerful, and it's really deep, and it's really big, wide, broad. And this is the problem. This can be a challenge. The danger with this full moon, yes, and this Mars opposite Uranus squaring Pluto is too much. It's overwhelm. Yeah? It's like not having boundaries. Saturn is helping us, teaching us how to say no, teaching us the limits of time. You can only schedule so much, you can only do so much, you can only be so much. And the sun in Gemini, the curiosity killed the cat. Don't kill yourself. It's like, no, more and more, I need to learn, I need to know, I need to take this class and read this book and Google this and talk to this person and get on Facebook and oh my God, you know, and it's just like information overload can cause us to implode and break down. Mental nervous breakdown that may be necessary, may need to happen in order for us to understand that the truth is not intellectual, that knowledge is not wisdom, and that our purpose here on this planet has more to do than with just, yes, this Gemini immediate sensory gratification, information, accomplishment, ambition, whatever, adapting to this environment. No, 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 there's way more out there. There's way more to relationship. There's like the need for self-understanding before you can have relationship understanding. That's Venus going through Taurus. Get your stuff together and the relationship will work itself out. Not about pleasing the partner, not about meeting their demands or expectations. It is about coming into ourself. So there is this, you know, there's this challenge now to just balance. And the tendency, like I say, is the Uranus in Aries, Pluto in Capricorn, Jupiter in Cancer, is like I, me, my liberation, my way, my control, my freedom, ba 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 ba. But North Node in Libra, Mars in Libra, Saturn in Scorpio, and of course the Neptune, Chiron in Pisces. These are all calling us to say now that the evolution involves union, it involves partnership, and it has to be conscious, not unconscious, not automatic, not profane, just physical, yes, but sacred. We have to include, yes, all the chakras. We have to include our heart in all of this madness. Yeah, baby. Oh my God. So it's just, you know, it's about, and here's where the big key comes in, I think, surrender. But not surrender in the sense of I give up. Right? Oh, I give up. I've tried as hard as I can, or I'm overwhelmed, or it's all too much. Just have your way and blah, 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 blah. Not that kind of surrender. I'm not talking about like giving it up. I'm talking about conscious surrender. What we're being called now to do, right, is to listen and compromise and cooperate and commit with consciousness. It's like, okay, you can have your way. I see, but it's because I agree, and it's because I see. And even though I'm afraid or I'm uncomfortable or, you know, that it brings up all this stuff, I am going to consciously expand my envelope. I'm going to consciously gamble or speculate or risk my security, sometimes my money, sometimes my way, for this partnership, for this, it's trust. Saturn through Scorpio is like teaching us trust. And it's difficult and it's challenging. But if we can do the conscious surrender, it's just like you can do so much more in partnership with others, in community. We've got to band together to create this new paradigm, and we're not going to do it in the separate, isolated, patriarchal, exclusive, narcissistic, self-oriented conditioning that we have had for the last few thousand years. So we're the ones that have to knock it off. And it has to happen through conscious participation in partnership. Boom. Take that. Oh God. Life is such a kick in the butt. Ready? And the mantra for today is, there's no escape from consciousness. I can no longer stay asleep without a rude awakening, keeping me on my feet. Get it? Just repeat that over and over through this new moon. It's happening tomorrow at 9/11 Pacific time. I was noticing the numbers, yeah. And yeah, it's time to be alert with, and then you won't get rude awakenings and shocks. Uranus can be shocking. We can have shocking events, but the shock only happens when we're like sleeping, dreaming, avoiding, or denying. No sleeping, dreaming, avoiding, or denying. And if you're not doing that, then hey, it's all good, man. This is all great. There's no escape from consciousness. I can no longer stay asleep without a rude awakening, keeping me on my feet. Namaste, aloha, so much love.